Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Showdown match of the winner 2018 Showdown bracket. This round 2, and we have Arnav Batta and Anthony Moo today for our match. Woohoo! Yeah, okay. So let's take a look at the bracket over here. Yeah, we have Arnav and Anthony playing, and the winner of this match will go on to the semifinals to face Abi. Yep. Very exciting. And for the format of today's match, we're going to have 60 minutes of 5-2, 40 minutes of 3-2, 20 minutes of 1-1, and then at the end of each section, we'll have a chess 960 game, and then in each section, we'll have a 5-minute break. Yep, okay. And they started? Or?
Not yet, I think.
All right. Let me get the timer ready.
They've started. They started about
Yeah,
five
I
seconds
got
ago.
it. I got it.
Anthony's not playing bishop c5 on move 3, which he's been playing recently. Wait, he hasn't played this line before. That's interesting. Is this some opening preparation by him? He's playing, I think it's like the Hungarian or whatever it's called, where they're okay with putting the bishop on e7, locking it in, and I think they go like rook e8 and bishop f8 and like just get rid of it like that.
Okay.
Kind of looks like a real Lopez, actually.
Yeah, it does.
Except black doesn't have b5 in, so maybe if he plays b5 now, they can transpose to some weird line of a real Lopez. But I don't think Arnav really knows what to do here. Probably should play like rook e1, knight f1, knight g3. I don't really see anything else. Knights. That move just looks disgusting. Doesn't feel right. Does b5 work? No, it doesn't. Okay. I think he would have 8 takes b5, knight takes a. So I think black might be slightly better here because I don't really see any like plans for white. The knight on e3 is just blocking his bishop, so that's going to move again. Black's going to be expanding on the queen side. Probably will play bishop e6 at some point, play b5, rook b8, b4, stuff like that. So I think black is probably slightly better, but it's roughly equal. Yeah, so he's playing bishop b6.
What about like knight d5?
Knight d5 you can probably trade, just trade everything down, right? Knight d5, knight takes, bishop takes, bishop
And at
takes.
the end, the knight has to go somewhere weird.
You go knight b8 and then just bring it to f6, like knight b8, knight d7, knight f6, I think you're fine.
Oh.
And the pawn on d5 is just weird. Maybe play f5, then knight f6.
Why did he take?
I think he had to.
Oh, okay.
So now just queen d7 is probably fine. Black's probably better with d5 coming maybe. He also has maybe some attacking chances with the open f-file now. So yeah, queen d7 should be expected. I don't really see any other move that saves both the pawns. Anthony's also up on time by about by about 30, 40 seconds. That's highly unusual, actually. Especially since it's Anthony we're talking about. So knight g5.
Okay, now d5 and you should be fine, right?
What? I'm thinking maybe knight d8, h6, and then bring the knight to f7.
Knight e,
Maybe.
okay.
But d5 also might be okay. The only issue I might have with d5 is that later on, white might get like rook e1 and have some pressure on the e-pawn. But I don't think that should be a worry. So knight e8 or d5. Actually, probably d5 is better. So d5, okay, he played knight d8 though. So now f4, and white might be okay actually. Knight c4, that's a weird move for sure. What if b5 or h6, or both moves actually. So b5, kick that knight back, and then h6, right?
Isn't he threatening knight b6 though?
Oh, okay. I'm dumb. Yeah. So he has to play. What does he have to play actually?
Rook c8? Rook b8?
No. Yeah, I don't like that move though.
Queen c... Oh, wait. Queen c7?
Like, I think queen c7, I'm just trying to see if some like knight takes e6, knight takes e6, knight e3 works. I don't think it does. Oh wait, no, queen c7, knight takes e6, knight takes e6, knight b6 maybe, attacking the rook and the knight. Knight takes e6, knight takes e6, and knight b6 after queen c7. Does that work? I don't see what black does, because the rook's hanging and the knight, so I think you'll just end up a pawn. Rook moves, queen takes e6 is with check, and then probably a5.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, Anthony's been thinking for a minute and a half maybe now. He was up like 30 seconds, and now he's down 1.5 minutes.
After queen c6, probably just...
Same thing, right? Knight takes e6.
Yeah.
So he has to move the rook. Rook b8 is basically forced, I think.
Oh, okay. So now
Okay,
knight
so
takes
now,
e6?
yeah, knight takes e6 should win a pawn, I believe.
So
Maybe even knight. Yeah,
knight
b6.
takes e6, knight takes e6, knight b6.
Yeah, and I think both the rook and the knight are hanging. But does, yeah, he can't play queen d7 because, okay, so he plays knight b6 first. That should be the same thing, right?
Yeah,
knight
now
takes
he can
e6.
now he can take it either way, yeah.
Yeah, so it's the same position actually.
And important is that after this recapture, it's check, so black can't take the knight on b6.
Yes. So it looks like Arnab just won a pawn.
Yeah.
So, yeah, knight d8 was probably not the right move. d5 had to be played to prevent knight c4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now...
So, knight c4, knight d5, a5.
Can you play queen takes e7?
I don't know if you want to take the bishop because it doesn't really have a future anyway, so
Okay.
you might as well keep the knight, like maybe play a5 here. Just keep the knight on b6 and pretty good knight.
What about knight d5?
Knight d5 is probably okay. I don't know if I want to trade the knight though, because I don't really like the f6 knight or the e7 bishop. So I prefer not to trade my b6 knight for it.
Yeah,
So
a5 looks
something
pretty
like
good.
Yeah, a5 just keeping the knight on b6, and I don't really see what black's doing. Like, knight on b6 just takes away a lot of squares for the rooks and even the knight on f6.
So where does white want to bring his dark square bishop to?
Probably he'll just play e3, bishop e3 and d4. Okay, so he plays knight d5.
Okay, so after takes, does he want to recapture with pawn? Or
yeah, I think taking with pawn is better, but I don't really know if you want to trade. I don't really like this move that much. So knight takes d5, pawn takes, and it increases black's drawing chances, I think, because now you can just like sit with the bishop, and you don't really have any weaknesses to exploit. On b5, and black might have some play, and the double pawns on the d file don't really help either in the conversion process. So either way, you're going to have a weird pawn structure, whether pawn takes or queen takes. Okay, so now you trade queens, and I think your drawing chances are very high. So like queen takes, pawn takes, and then...
Yeah, also note he's really low on time.
Okay, so he plays queen e8 actually. Once again, I don't really see... So maybe f4 here.
F4?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just getting your bishop out to attack the d6 pawn. And if he doesn't take, then you just play f5 and gain even more space.
Yeah, and also at the end of that, you're hitting the d6 pawn. That looks pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, so he played bishop e3, queen g6 was basically blitzed out. Once again, f4 looks good. So Anthony's probably going to try and get something like rook f3 maybe, just confuse Arnav while Arnav also gets low on time. So at this point, it's just going to be who blunders. Because they both have... So d4, yeah, takes. Probably want to take again and then play bishop f6.
Okay, does that just drop a pawn? He could have taken on d6.
He didn't see it.
Yeah.
This is probably a draw. I don't, especially with such low time, I don't think Arnav will find the right winning plans.
Yeah, he's just going for trade.
Yeah, queen. Anthony wants to keep the pieces on the board, actually. That's weird. I think he's just playing moves at this point, not really thinking about what he's doing. We haven't seen any blunders yet. So rook d8, you're probably going to be trading off the rooks now.
Did he
probably
just...
one...
Wait, why didn't he play rook b8? I thought he was gonna...
I don't know.
Okay, well now he's down 2 pawns, and it's probably not a draw anymore.
Yeah, but they also both have like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh.
He dropped another pawn.
Most likely white should win this. Like if he hangs the rook on d1 or something. Okay, that didn't happen. Rook g8, I think.
Oh, gosh.
He hung mate.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Okay, then.
Okay, so...
Yep. This is 1-0.
Yeah.
All right, then. But that was a pretty good game, especially for the first game. But on the time turbo, Arnav just blundered. All right, so we see some better opening choice from Anthony than Arnav. He's playing the English, much better than e4. And we get this little reverse Sicilian going on.
It's only a reverse Sicilian if black plays d5, I think. So I think this is the line Yuri was talking about, I think. What, like Karpov system or something?
Oh, okay.
So like a6, d3, h6, I believe is the line here. Maybe b4 first, I don't remember about that. d3, because you want to play bishop g5, take f6, and knight d5.
All right, all right.
So now h6 here to prevent bishop g5 is the main line. And I don't know anything else after this. So maybe, yeah, bishop b2 here looks interesting. I don't know how good of a move it is actually, because I don't really see the bishop's future on b2. Black looks okay here. I think he's going to play knight g6, knight h7, knight g5, trade off the bishop. I don't really like e4 either, because now the square on d4 is kind of weak, and the bishop on g2
And the
doesn't.
light square bishop. Yeah, it looks kind of strange.
Yeah, like I like e4 when your knight's on your f3 knight's on e2, because then you're going to be playing king h1 and f4, and you have some ideas on breaking in this there, but with the knight on f3, you don't have any f-pawn pushes and stuff. So I don't see the point of knight e2 either. Maybe he wants to play h3, g4, and knight g3. It's the only idea I can really see with knight e2. So I think black is probably better here already. I think white just doesn't know what he's doing with his pieces. And they also look pretty awkward. The bishop on b2 is just looking at the e5 pawn. The f3 knight doesn't really have any squares to go to, same with the e2 knight. And the g2 bishop is blocked by the e4 pawn. So I think black is probably better here with the nice bishop on a7. The two knights on f6 and g6 are both looking towards the king side. Maybe some like h5, h4 here already is good. d5. I feel like e takes d5, e takes d5, and then something like knight c1 just attacking the e-pawn might be good here. Or knight c3. Knight c3 blocks the b2 bishop, but I don't know if he wanted to play d5, because the d6 pawn was doing a nice job protecting the e5 pawn, which was blocking the b2 bishop. So now,
Okay, but what about d4?
d4 he probably should play. I don't really like it that much because it'll block your a7 bishop, which is why I kind of like the bishop pawn better on d6. But I think you will be getting a lot of space from it, so it should be okay. Knight g4 attacking f2, c5. Yeah, so Anthony shuts down the dark square bishop now. I think I've probably misplayed this a little bit. Now I don't really see what either side is doing. Maybe knight d2 to c4 for white here is a good idea. Trying to improve your pieces. Maybe h3 first, kick the knight out, then knight d2 c4. But I think knight d2 to c4 must be played at some point. Plays queen c4. That just gives him a free tempo, right? Yeah, bishop e6. And now you're basically forced to go back to c2. So now black just got 2 free tempo, and he should be better now because of that.
So how's he gonna fix his dark square bishop though?
He probably has to return it to c1 at some point, and just hope that he might be able to get an f4. Queen d7, can you play h3 and king h2 here, and then you might just like sit and wait and ask black what he's going to be doing. So h3 is played.
Is he gonna play g4?
Oh yeah, g4 is also g4, and then knight g3 f5 at some point might be good. But I think g4 h5 might be what he was worried about.
What about h5 right now? Well, no.
Yeah, no point in playing h5 unless the pawn's actually on g4. So Arnav's trying to free his bishop, but I think Anthony can just ignore that. Like he doesn't have to do anything over there. Maybe play a4 here, so takes and bishop a3. later. Okay, I don't know if you should have taken that. Because now the dash for bishop is kind of open. C5 might
Maybe
be
he wants
coming.
to attack C6.
Yeah, but I think C5 is coming. So rook C1, rook C8, and then C5 is probably coming on the next move. I don't really see how you're preventing that. Even A5 first, then C5. So the pawns are weak right now, but I think you're going to be getting the pawn breaks necessary to trade them off.
Yeah, I think you should just go knight D2, knight C4, and then try to get in like F4 or something. Okay.
Queen A4. So now A5, maybe even C5 here. Queen takes A6. Wait, no, the bishop's hanging in that line. So what should he do here? Maybe just A5 here, and if he takes, just play bishop C7 and attack the A pawn on the A file. Go like rook A8, rook takes A5. But he went for queen B7. So now, if he has the time, playing knight D2, B3 to C5 might be a good idea. But I think it's too slow. I don't think you're going to be able to get that in time.
Yeah, because he can, after knight D2, he can just still play C5.
C5. C5 is going to come on the next move, basically no matter what. So knight D2, C5, maybe you have to play takes, takes, and F4. You have to try and get some counterplay somewhere. Oh wait, no, takes, takes, F4 hangs the B2 bishop, so just ignore that, just play F4 immediately.
So
C5, F4 is probably what Anthony's thinking about. So what is rook E7?
rook E7. I don't. Is he trying to swing that over to the C file?
But is that necessary? C5 is already a good move here.
Okay, takes instantly. I'm not sure the idea behind this.
And now rook C1 and is C5 just stop?
I don't know why he didn't play C5 just earlier.
Yeah, rook C1, C5 can.
Okay, F4
so now
now?
can you play B5?
Okay.
Or F4. F4, but does B5 also work? Trying to give yourself a passed A pawn. So he has a couple of good moves here. I think Arnav once again played a little bit too slow here. He should have played C5 immediately. And now I think Anthony should be okay. It's probably roughly equal, but I'd still prefer to play black, I think. But I thought black was much better a couple of moves ago.
What about something like H4, bishop H3?
That's probably, in a couple of moves, that might be a good idea. I think right now you probably have to figure out what you want to do on the C file, whether you want to play B5 or take. But in like 2 or 3 moves, H3, bishop H4, bishop H3 is probably what you have to do to try and improve your pieces. So queen C2.
Okay, then he just wants to take on B4?
Yeah, I think black can just take on B4 here and be okay.
Wait, so takes B4, and then I think he has to do rook takes C7?
Then rook takes C7 and you're trading off the rooks, right?
Well, because now you have to take back with the pawn, and then D3 might be annoying to keep track of.
I think this is not that good for white. I don't really like this queen C2 move. Now you have a passed D pawn. You have a passed C pawn, I guess, is probably what he was hoping for, trying to get the imbalance between the passed pawns. But I think black's more coordinated for to prevent the C pawn from actually becoming a threat, and can slowly make like knight d7, f5, maybe knight e8, knight d6, and then f5, and then e4 coming, stuff like that. So
Okay, this looks really annoying too.
Does b5 work? Maybe bishop a3 was played. Okay, so Anthony does have 9 seconds on his clock, so he's probably going to make some mistake. But we saw last game, he didn't really play that bad in time pressure, right?
Yeah.
But this time Arnav has about 50 seconds more than him.
Okay, so b5, and now White's dark squared bishop is somewhat active.
Yeah. They're probably going to trade rooks off.
He's going for a knight c4.
Okay, but take. Okay, he should have traded rooks for sure. Yeah, now knight c4 is actually good. And Anthony's probably going to flag very soon. He's basically living on the increment here, and it's already a very difficult position for him. I think Arnav is probably going to win this game now. Knight d6 attacking the e4 pawn one more time. So he plays f4, trying to sharpen the position up. But when you have a couple of seconds on your clock, I don't know if you want to make the position very tactical. I'm guessing this point is e takes f4, then e5 wins. No, then knight d5, right?
He can take with check, though. He can... Oh, he could have taken g3.
Wait, and did he not take the free piece?
Why didn't he take the knight?
Wasn't the knight hanging?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it was just a free piece.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
And
now this looks
now-
really bad.
The d-pawn's coming.
Oh, and
Yeah.
yeah. Alright, so the match is now even.
And we're about halfway through the 5-2 section as well.
Super high quality
So
games.
this might become the shortest 5-2 section we've had. Number of
Like
games.
the fewest amount of games, yeah.
Yeah. They're going to have like 4 or 5 if they continue like this.
Okay, so we see this same Italian.
Anthony does not go for the bishop e7 stuff he went last game. He goes for main line. So now d6, h6, and a6, I believe, is one main line, and then there's another main line with d6 and a5. So which one will Anthony go for? So he's going for h6. So most likely he's going to be playing a6 next, then bishop a7. I usually like black in these positions because I think it's roughly equal, except black should be okay, and white doesn't really have the opening advantage he should be having, playing white and stuff. Knight g4 in that position I think was okay. I don't think knight f1 was that good. So bishop e6, they'll probably trade, and then maybe knight h5 to f4 ideas are coming. That's very typical in these types of positions for black. Knight h5 to f4, trying to get some counterplay there. So now he taking on e6. Now he's going to play queen e8, queen h5 ideas, and just slowly start attacking. I think right now he has to play queen c8 and defend the 2 pawns. Actually, maybe he can play queen d7. Yeah, he can probably play queen d7 actually, because queen takes b7. I think rook fb8, and the queen is trapped because queen takes a6, bishop takes f2 check. So queen d7 was actually a good move there. So now bishop e3 is offering a trade of bishops, and Anthony should probably just play knight h5 here. So he'll be okay with trading rooks and putting the rook on a7, because the rook on a7 will make the queen on b3 kind of useless. But no, instead he's going for knight a5, which I think will be met by queen a4. No, he goes queen c2. And now c5. I don't really like the c5 move by Anthony because it kind of shuts down his bishop. His bishop was doing a nice job on the diagonal, neutralizing all the pressure of the other bishop, and also if the bishop wasn't on the diagonal, putting pressure on the f2 pawn. So I think this was pretty good for Anthony until he played c5. So now maybe he will play b4, and I will play. An interesting idea, I think, because you're trying to play on the queen side. You don't really have any other prospects. So b4 is played. So now I'm trying to make something like c4 takes on c4 and then knight e7 work. But I think you can always take on a7, take on a7, and then knight e3 and defend the c4 pawn. So you probably should take the b4 pawn here. You don't want to.
Well, if he goes knight g4, and white responds with bishop d2, the f2.
Okay. I think Anthony's just locking his bishop out forever now. Something like c4 here, trying to play b5 and just making sure the bishop on a7 never gets out is probably good here. He might have to play queen b3 first to defend the pawn, actually, but d4. I think he can just trade everything on d4, right? Play c takes, e takes, knight takes.
What if he tries to go c4, b5 and get his bishop out again?
So c4 right now?
Or... Okay, well now it doesn't really
Now
work.
I think he's just going to trade everything.
Yeah.
Trade everything and you're in just an okay endgame, I think. Maybe play knight takes here to force all the pieces off. So I don't know why he's really thinking here. I think trading is obviously just an equal endgame here for Black, where he shouldn't be that worse. White's best chances in these positions are usually in the middle games when there's a bunch of pawn tension and stuff. But in the end game, I think it's just equal. I don't really see how White can really make progress. But he's thinking, so he might be trying to play d5 here, trying to just no, he plays knight d7. I don't really understand this move. The c pawn was already defended, I think. So now something like d5 was probably good, just locking the pawn on d6, and then the bishop on a7 is never going to get out.
Okay, now bishop takes.
Now I actually might like Black here because I think White doesn't really have much of an advantage. I like once something like knight takes c5, maybe even bishop takes c5 here. Just trading off the bishops and putting the knight on c5. I don't really see why Black should be worse here. So I think I've misplayed this. Unless something like e5 can work here. If something like e5 works here. Trying to...
annoying, actually. Yeah, e5, and then what is he going to do?
You might be forced to play rook takes f3, g takes f3, knight takes c5. Because I think you're losing a piece if you don't do that. But I think Black might actually be okay there. He'll have a pawn for an exchange, and the white king is slightly weak. It'll take some time to get all the way over to the king side, though.
Wait, no, so but at the end of that line, there's rook takes c5 because the pawn's defending both the knights.
Oh, wow, yeah. He does have that at the end.
Because rook
so
takes,
maybe
takes, knight takes, and then rook takes.
And maybe rook takes, knight takes, and knight d4?
Knight.
But queen c3 works probably.
Wait, this is actually like really bad for black, I think.
Yeah, I think black's just losing.
Everything's just so poorly defended, especially along the c file.
Yeah. And Anthony down to 20 seconds again already. But I think his position's already pretty bad.
Yeah.
So now he has to play like knight d7 here.
Oh, yeah, that's really...
And he's losing a second pawn also. Now just take on c8 and then take on e6.
Okay, he just wants to queen.
I still think trading queens and taking the e6 pawn was a little bit better. This is probably still winning. Because he has rook takes e6. Oh, yeah. Now I think knight.
Yeah, and black's just kind of done.
Yeah. 10 seconds and he's down material. Two pieces. He's not going to be defending this.
Okay, and then he,
Yeah, okay.
All right.
So it's a 2-1 lead for Arnav with about 22 minutes remaining in the 5-2 section. Nice recovery after the back rank blunder in game 1.
All right, so we transposed to a QGD exchange, which is an automatic win for white, as we all know.
Yeah, but Anthony's playing the variation with knight f3, which black usually equalizes against with some ideas with h6 and bishop f5.
Okay, what? Oh, never mind. Wait, no, yeah, queen b3, isn't that why?
Yeah, queen b3 was probably a good try after bishop f5.
Okay, this...
So I think Anthony's still trying to play this like in English. I don't think he really realized
that good.
Yeah. I think black
now black will just get like bishop d6 and castle and be fine.
Yeah, maybe after bishop d6, Anthony can try something weird like bishop f4, trying to clamp down on the e5 square.
That looks really awkward, though.
Looks interesting, I think. Like, I don't really see another good square for the dark square bishop, so you might as well try and trade it off. And you probably want to put the knight on e5, so playing bishop f4, you want to play like knight e5 ideas, I think. That's probably white's only real plan in this position. Plays knight e5 immediately. So I guess he's okay with double pawns if it means he gets the two bishops. And now he plays bishop f4. So now, yeah, knight h5. But does something like e4 work?
E4.
So e4 and knight takes, and probably you have to take on f5.
Is there any discovery with the knight?
Oh yeah, knight takes f7, right? Does knight takes f7?
Yeah. Oh wait, what?
Yeah, I think knight takes f7 in the previous position just won on the spot, I think. But now e4, right? Does e4 now work? Doesn't that win a piece?
Yeah.
Bishop g6 is probably going to be played, but he does win the d5 pawn, right? Does he have any way to like trap the h5 knight after bishop g6?
Oh, bishop f3, and then if he plays knight f6, then e5.
Ah, that's it. Okay. I was trying to get g4, but there's always knight
now
f4.
Bishop f3.
Or e5 first should also work. Maybe e5 first to stop any like. Okay, so he goes after a free pawn. He does win a pawn in this line, I think.
Yeah, he does.
So now probably bishop takes. Yeah. So now you're attacking b7 also. It's kind of awkward to defend it. So now probably bishop g2 back and play d5. Maybe you can try something like queen b3 here, but I think that's kind of risky. You might lose the d4 pawn. I think you want to move the bishop and put the pawn on d5, and then you're never going to lose that pawn. And then at some point, a little bit later, you can start trying to push it even further. Anthony's thinking for a little bit here. I wonder if he's trying to find a way to trap the h5 knight. Plays rook e1. So now probably rook fd8 here, trying to pin the d5 bishop to the d pawn. Okay, he plays knight f6. Now just bishop g2 and d5, and I think you're saving the d5 pawn from being won.
Wait, what's he gonna do after like rook fd8?
Just play pawn d5, right? Because you'll have two minor pieces defending it, and he can only have one attacking it, so it should be defended there. So he's going after the a7 pawn. He wants to trade the a7 pawn for the d4 pawn, which is probably a good trade for him, since the d4 pawn is pretty weak right now. I don't really like a5 that much. I think now queen b5, and the b6 pawn will be weak forever, and then you'll be playing pawn to d5 next. And then you might be able to play like rook c1, and maybe in the future play rook c6, or even queen c6. So Anthony defends his d pawn instead. Okay, wait, that doesn't hang anything yet. So one pair of rooks is off. Now something like queen b5, just tying down everything, I think is a good move. Because you're forcing black to always be careful about the b6 pawn now. So Anthony's thinking again for a little bit, closing in on the 1 minute.
Bishop c6, any good? Oh.
Knight d5. So he's trying to deflect the f6 knight from the e8 rook.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really see any other purpose to it, actually. Maybe he wants to play queen b5 and take on b6. Or maybe he just wants to trade off the knight on f6 and play d5, and maybe that's his idea. So rook d8, and now you can play something like knight takes f6, knight takes f6, queen b5, because if you play d5 immediately, the b2 pawn would be hanging.
Mm-hmm.
Bishop on g6 doesn't really, like, he probably has to like play bishop f5 and try and get back into the game through like the e6 diagonal at some point, because it's not really doing anything on the b1 h7 diagonal. Plays knight f4. You probably want to trade that bishop off. I don't know if you want to take it really, because it's not really doing anything. So bishop e4, trying to trade off the light square bishop, and I think Anthony is probably forced to do so. Maybe he can try something like bishop f1, bishop c4, but I think then he'll just put something on d5. Like if bishop f1, he'll play like knight d5 and be okay. So I think he should do this. And now I think black actually has a blockade of the d-pawn.
What's he thinking about?
I'm not too sure, actually. Maybe his computer is lagging or something. He shouldn't be spending so much time on a pretty obvious recapture, I think. Unless he's trying to play something else. Could he be thinking like, I don't really see what else he could be thinking about.
What?
Okay, now he spent like 30 seconds just trying to...
Oh,
not too sure.
Never mind. Okay, and they drew. Interesting.
Yeah, I think the game was heading towards that direction, but I think Anthony should have... It actually might be a smart move by Anthony, because the game was most likely going to be a draw, and with a little bit time left in the 5-2 section, he wants to try another chance to win in a different position, because he doesn't have his chances here. But have they started the next game? Okay, why are they talking?
All right, they started.
Okay. Because they just wasted about 90 seconds talking there. So apparently Arnav thought it was a mouse slip, because he didn't realize it was a trade of pieces.
Okay, that's...
Wait, did Anthony end up as white again?
Wait. Yeah, this is not right.
How did they manage to get white again? Okay. Not too sure what just happened there. But they're going to be going into the same stuff. So they're repeating the same line as of right now. Will Arnav drop the piece again like he did? Or... So this time Anthony deviates with knight h4. So he wants to just win the bishop pair. That's an interesting idea for sure. Not too sure if that's good for him or not, because the g2 bishop isn't really that good. But maybe if he plays castle and d4, he might be okay.
Okay, this looks kind of awkward.
He plays e4 immediately. I would have preferred it if he had done it after castling, I think.
Doesn't that just isolate his own pawn for like...
Well, what else do you have to have some pawn break in the position, and I guess that's what he had to do. So maybe knight d5 here for black, trying to blockade the pawn. Because Anthony doesn't really want to trade on f6 right now. So maybe he has to go back knight c3. Because when you have an isolated pawn, you usually don't want to trade pieces. But it looks like he's okay with the trade. So now does a knight takes c4, bishop takes c4, and then knight f6. I think that's pretty good for black. So now you're forced to go back to like g2. So now maybe just castle here and give him back the bishop here, because it would un-isolate your pawns and give you the open f-file as well. So probably castle here should be okay. Maybe queen b3 also, trying to trade and un-isolate the pawn like that also. So queen b3 is played, and now I think knight b6 is what Arnav should do. Maybe bishop b4 check also is in the position. Okay, so he plays knight takes e3, and now f takes e3, and I think he's okay. He's un-isolated his pawn, and he has after he gets in e4 at some point, he'll be okay. So it's probably roughly equal here. I think Anthony has been not getting the best positions he can get from the opening. So now something like king f2 is probably okay. Maybe king e2 is slightly better. So you keep that file open for your rook. But king f2, rook f1, and king g1 might work. You'd have to throw an h3 at some point, but... Queen c3, there's bishop e4, so you can't do that. So probably king e2 or king f2 will be played. King d1. So now castle queen side, and then, or maybe even c5 right now. Instead, he goes for a queen trade. That's interesting. So he probably should take an a3, I guess, is so he can move his rook at a later point. So now black is probably going to be playing on the queen side with b5, b4. And white at some point will play like king e2, king d3, and maybe like rook f1 and play in the center. It's probably his idea. So king e2, king d3, e4, e5, and play like that. Maybe bishop f6 was a slightly better square for the bishop, because the bishop on d6 doesn't really have any targets. Like does that just hang a piece?
That the rook is protected.
H6 g3 is protected. Not too sure what I was thinking here.
I don't think he realized the bishop was there or something.
Yeah, I don't know. So now Anthony's just up a piece.
Yeah.
And this most likely will be the last game of the 5-2 section, right?
There's just under 4 minutes left.
Yeah, so they probably will actually start another game then, depending on how long this game goes. So now I guess Anthony wants to hide it. I don't know where Anthony's going with this king. Probably even wants to go to d3. He's just choosing a different way to get there. Putting the king on d3 is probably the best square. And then play e4. Or e4 immediately also works. f5, it just weakens the g-pawn. So now just e5 gives yourself a pass pawn. And the g-pawn is super weak. So now you can... Rook h4 is an interesting move. I don't know how good it is. Maybe rook h5 now, because g5 wasn't the best of moves, I think. You probably want to, take the g5 pawn. Maybe rook h1 would have been an interesting idea instead of taking back immediately. So now, maybe rook e1 was a little bit better, trying to win the e4 pawn. But I think this one's g7, right? So I would have thought the e4 pawn a better pawn to win than the g7 pawn, but... Okay, so Arnav goes back with this king instead. And now rook e5 should win the pawn. And that is played. So now Anthony did win back his pawn for the piece and has a passed e-pawn. So this should be a pretty easy conversion for him. He's not in that big of a time pressure. I don't know if he wanted to play g4. Okay, so now bishop e4 to f5 is probably what you want to do. The idea is bishop e4, king takes e5, you have bishop g6 check, and you win the rook. So probably at some point, bishop e4 to f5 will be the improvement he needs. Arnav gets out of that, so he has successfully blockaded the e5 pawn now. Maybe Anthony should go bishop d1 to b3. That's probably trying to get the king off the e6 square. So I know he's putting up some good defense. Making this a little difficult for Anthony. King d3 played, going back with the king. So now rook f4 trying to get active. And maybe, yeah, king e2, rook e4. You'll lose the e5 pawn, you'll put the bishop on f5, and then you'll just outplay him on the queen side with your king, bishop, and 2 pawns against his king and 3 pawns. So rook c4. You probably play rook c3 here. Okay, so king d3, rook f4, and you would have repeated the position. Anthony has 14 seconds on his clock, so he has to be a little careful here. Has the 5-2 section ended?
Yes, it has.
Oh, is he going for a draw? Because rook f4 would be a 3-fold repetition.
He took the draw.
That's an interesting approach for Anthony. You probably should have sacked the pawn with bishop e4.
All right, we'll have 960 now.
So apparently they don't know the rules and that they're supposed to play a 960 game now. Okay, so the game has started. This is probably the first 960 position we've seen the bishops not on the long diagonal in the stud, actually. I think in every 960 game so far, the bishops have been on the long diagonals. So h1 and a1 for white, or a8 and h8 for black. So Anthony's choosing an interesting way to develop his pieces, putting his bishop on the h2 b8 diagonal with his queen, while Arnav chooses for a quick castle. Anthony plays f6, probably wanting to get the bishop out to f7, or maybe the knight. We're going to get a very unorthodox position for sure, because this has almost no resemblance to the starting position. So the pieces are going to look very weird for both sides, I think. So now I think Anthony wants to play d5, and that's his idea. With knight b6, that's why you play knight b6. Yeah, so d5 is played. And now he's going to put the bishop on c6. And it looks like he got his pieces out to some pretty decent squares. The knight on f7 is the only questionable piece, but for now it's probably doing a good job defending the king. Anthony might, I don't know if this is good, but he might play queen c8, queen d7, and then castle queen side, and then try and attack black on the king side, since he already has all his pieces pointing in the direction of Arnav's king. So let's see what he does. He might just castle king side as well here. I think black is probably slightly better here with the slightly more active pieces and better bishops. He also has a little bit more space with the c5 pawn. Interesting that he goes for all these trades. Arnav offers yet another trade also. Anthony declines the queen trade, instead going after the weak d3 pawn. So Arnav defends his pawn, and now castle queenside attacking the d3 pawn is probably a good idea. But that would hang the f7 knight, wouldn't it? Didn't notice that. Oh, that's actually... Okay. So with the bishop on b3 is actually attacking that out on f7. So yeah, Anthony's kind of forced to castle kingside. So now maybe e5, just gaining more space and keeping a solid pawn structure. Now Arnav's probably... Okay, I thought knight f5 was a little bit more natural. Knight f5, and then just trying to... Because usually putting the knight on f5 is a good square. Taking on e4 is... That's an interesting choice. That bishop on c6 looked very nice, I think. So now the b7 pawn is hanging, so Anthony plays b6. So Arnav's getting his pieces ready to attack, I think. He's going to play rook g3, queen g4. Maybe Anthony should play king h8 here, getting out of the pin, and going to put a knight on maybe... I want to get it to the f4 square, if that's possible. So Arnav does threaten checkmate in one, but I think that does hang in exchange as Anthony plays. Knight g5 now forks both the queen and the rook. And Anthony is now up in exchange. He is down almost 2 minutes on the clock, though. So that's something he should probably be a little careful. We've seen the clock be an issue for Anthony throughout this whole match. So now Anthony's getting a little aggressive with f5. He probably wants to play some like f4, f3 in the future. He also is just closing down the c2 bishop if d4 ever gets played. And Arnav's queen on h3 is a little bit misplaced, so he probably wants to bring it back. So d4 is played. That's a weird move. So I think his idea is the f5 pawn is hanging. But I think what he's missing, so if c takes d4, bishop takes f5, there is something like queen f6, and the f2 pawn will be hanging. E4 also should be a good move, just closing down that bishop. I think c takes d4 did win a pawn, though. So he takes on c5 now, probably queen takes c5 to keep his pawn structure safe. Queen d2, going for activity. That's a nice move, I like it. I'm guessing he wants to play f4 next as well. Because where's that bishop going? He has to go to like b3, probably, and then f4 is coming. f4, f3, e3. And Anthony's going to get a huge attack on. Yeah, this queen d2 move is really nice. The b2 pawn's also hanging, as well as c3 and c5. So yeah, this queen d2 move was a really nice find by Anthony. Rook d3 now, probably. Oh, he hung his queen.
No.
He hung his queen. In a completely winning position, he hung his queen. Oh, that should hurt. Arnav offers a draw. Upper queen, he offers a draw, and Anthony resigns. What just happened here?
I think they're just trying to be good sportsmen.
Yeah. Okay. So Arnav ends the 5-2 section up 2 points in a 4-2 lead.
All right. We'll be back after a 5-minute break. Welcome back, everyone, to the match between Arnav Batta and Anthony Mu, and we're starting the 3-2 portion.
Yeah, so did Anthony just win a pawn? I'm confused. I don't really see why, what the point of this was far enough. Looks like a healthy pawn to me. It's going to have some development issues, I think, but a pawn is a pawn, so... Yeah, I'm not really too sure where Black's compensation for the pawn is. F5 just looks like a weird move for sure. You probably, yeah, en passant. And now the pawn on E6 is also super weak. You're going to castle next. I think it's just an extra pawn. I think white would be better even if he wasn't up a pawn. So he's up a pawn with compensation, it looks like to me. He's probably going to have to play like rook b1, b3, and bishop b2 to develop his deck square bishop. And that's probably the only drawback to Anthony's position, is that his deck square bishop has some issues developing. So knight d4, Arnav's offering a trade of pieces when he's down material. That just looks weird to me. I guess his point is he wants to open the f file and get some pressure on f2. Not really too sure. Something like knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, probably I don't know, bishop d3 maybe. That just looks weird though. But you don't have to do anything. You can play rook b1 here, or a3, and you can allow him to take the f3 knight or the e2 bishop. So now Arnav's going to play bishop b7 and put pressure on the f3. Younger rook. And Arnav didn't see it. Anthony hung a rook and Arnav didn't see it. So now rook b1, bishop b2, and I think he's better. Or d4 is also a good move. So now Anthony's up a pawn and has a lot of space. He will have to deal with an attack sometime soon, though. Arnav's pointing everything in the direction of the king side. Something like knight e5 now might be good. Just giving back the pawn. He's not even giving back the pawn. Never mind. So yeah, knight e5 here looks good. Because you don't want to allow bishop takes f3, but that's what Anthony has done. So now does queen f4 just win on the spot? Queen f4, this queen takes e6, king h8, queen h3, but then rook f6 looks like it just wins. I think in this case he can play, starting with queen takes e6 definitely shouldn't be bad, I think. And then maybe run with the king. Yeah, rook d1 and just run with the king. Oh, but he's going to lose the queen to a skewer on the e-file. So now queen h1, king e2, and rook e8. Or rook e8 first is probably even better. Oh, but this queen g4. Does this win? Does this really win for Arnav?
Yeah, but now rook e1? Oh, wait. No.
Yeah, does this really win for Arnav? Queen h3, queen g2. Where's the win? I don't see. Is it? I don't see it. And back to g1.
Wait, what?
Wait. He hung the queen.
Wait, what?
Okay. I'm not too sure what happened there. Arnav hung the queen. Anthony didn't see it. A lot of blunders this match from both sides.
Was he gonna play queen h1 again? Oh,
I don't know.
Okay.
Drawn by agreement. Okay. I'm not really too sure what the analysis here says. Queen takes f3 looks good for black, but I don't see an immediate win. But draw is a good result for Arnav.
Yep, so Arnav's still +2.
Anthony returns to his Hungarian defense stuff that brought him his only win of the match so far. Looks like he's been preparing stuff in the 5-minute break so he doesn't get out of book against Arnav. Because he's playing these openings pretty fast. And now we're in these weird Italian turned into a Rui position again, with b5 coming soon. So now bishop h7, and you just keep the bishop pretty safe. Knight f5 is probably going to happen. And now just b5 probably. Maybe take on f5 first, then b5. Or knight c6. Does something like bishop takes h6 work? That should definitely be calculated right now. Something like bishop takes h6, g takes, knight takes, king g7. Maybe king h8 is better. And then what? Other knight to f5 maybe? And then bring your queen in, queen. How do you bring your queen in actually? The pawn on h3 kind of hurts your attack. So maybe that doesn't work right now. So maybe f4 for white is a good idea. How do you continue with the kingside attack? I'm not really too sure. Bishop e3. So just developing. He's going to wait until later. So queen d7 is played, connecting the two rooks, finishing his development. And d4. Arnav decides to strike in the center, which I find interesting. Does something like knight takes e4? Does something like knight takes e4 work here? Or does he have knight takes e7? No. Because knight takes e4 looks like it might be okay for Anthony. What would be the continuation after knight takes e4? No, he plays bishop takes f5. And now the e4 pawn is hanging like this, right? Now knight takes e4 is hanging, right? Or bishop takes h6. Knight takes c4, bishop takes h6. But then queen takes f5. So knight e4, knight takes e7 first, then bishop takes h6 is probably the idea. So knight takes e4 is not a free pawn because of that. Bishop takes h6 opens the rook to the e4 knight after a knight takes e7 check. Oh, but he played it. I don't get it. Queen g4 also might work. Queen g4 might also work. I don't think this was good. Okay, so, but he's going into this instead. I think queen g4 was mating, for sure. But Arnav is going to go to this line instead. So queen takes e7, now bishop takes h6. At least I think that's what he's going to do. But instead, okay, maybe after bishop takes h6, there's a knight takes f2. I don't know, that position was complex. But now knight takes c5, and Anthony's just up a pawn. So now it looks like Anthony has won a pawn. And I've misplayed this for sure. Anthony should not have dreamed of getting this position after knight reached the f5 square. But, yeah, something went wrong for Arnav. I don't like that d4 move for sure. d4 was a very, it was too early. So f4, he wants to, like, I don't know what he's doing. He can play like rook d8 here, I think. Probably something like queen h4 also is fine, or queen f6, queen c7. Basically, there are a lot of moves here. I think black's completely fine. Up a pawn. White's pieces are weird. And yeah. Queen f6 is played. So now we should expect the trade on e5 to happen. I don't really see anything else for Arnav. And what is the next move? Rook f1. So now queen g5 is a interesting idea, I think. Queen g5, and then to go into place like c4, b5, and knight d3. That's something to think about. Queen b6. So he's attacking the b2 pawn and wants to play c4 and knight d3 with check. So that's Anthony's idea here. He's attacking the b2 pawn and wants enough defense that he's going to play c4 and knight d3 and put the knight on that amazing square, I think. But the c4 pawn might be hanging. Okay, so he plays queen d5, counterattacking on the knight. That's probably a good move. Maybe he'll just play like rook e8. He has to be careful about what he does, actually, because f7 could also be weak. He plays c4 check, shutting off the bishop from the f7 square. And now probably rook e8 will be played. Rook ae8. So the other rook is still defending f7. But Anthony's down to 7 seconds, so he has to be a little careful. Knight c6 is played. Bishop takes c4, most likely queen takes b2 will be played now. Knight e7 instead. And suddenly I'm starting to like Arnav's position. Now something like queen, f3. Queen takes b2 now, I think should be okay. Knight g6, bishop takes f7. Wins a piece, I think. Bishop takes f7. Oh no, the queen's defending the g6 knight. But that should still be winning. Now, queen e2. 97. Arnav's getting low on time too, but that hung a piece. So Arnav will extend his lead to 3 points most likely. Another time trouble issues for Anthony again. He's going to avoid the queen trade. Maybe queen. Okay, but he did it this time. Rook c8. The bishop will now move. And this is just a time scramble now. So. London maiden 1, okay. So it's now a 5.5, 2.5 lead for Arnav with maybe about halfway through the 3-2 section already. I'm not too sure about the gaming clock right now. I'm going. There's left. There's about 23 minutes. Okay. So we go into this English again, with Arnav playing an early d5 this time, and Anthony does play d4 now. So we're in a similar position to what we've been seeing before in the 5-2 section. So last time we saw Arnav put his bishop on d6. This time we're seeing him put on e7. I wonder if there'll be anything different about that. Okay, so it's think black should be okay here with the d2 bishop being very inactive. So maybe white should think about bishop b4 here, trying to trade off the bad bishop. Knight e5 also looks like a good move. But now I think black will hit with c5, and he's probably better here. So Arnav tries to trade the bad bishop off. I mean, the bad knight for the knight on e5 off. Wasn't really bad, I guess. But he wants to trade off Anthony's basically only good piece. So Anthony retreats back to f3. And now c5, I think, will be played. I don't. Oh, but c5 hangs the d5 pawn now that the knight moved off the f6 square. So now, knight f6 and knight e5 back. So he plays knight e4 this time. He avoids the repetition with knight d7. And now I think Anthony should play bishop b4. You have to try and trade your bishop off because your bishop's really useless on the d2. It doesn't have any future. And bishop b4 is played. So now it's probably just equal here. I don't really see an advantage for either side. c5 is probably black's most natural move here. Probably should have been played a couple of moves ago, but I guess he can keep on waiting to play it until he feels like it's the best moment. And actually, for the first time in a while, Anthony's actually up on time against Anna by about 10 seconds. I don't really see the point of rook e8 here. Now probably f3, just kick off the e4 knight. And now a queen trade has been offered. It probably favors black since the white queen is slightly more active, but I think it's just an equal position and we will most likely be seeing a draw here. Maybe queen b6 is a nice way to try and... So now, can you take the b7 pawn? I think the b7 pawn is hanging now. So it looks like Arnav just blundered a pawn with 40 seconds on his clock. Anthony does not see it with about 15 seconds on his clock. I think e4 would have been a nice move, but I guess he wants to defend the d4 pawn. So that's his plan. He wants to play e4 now. e4 has been played. Both pairs have 15 to 20 seconds. Rook f1, I think, trying to get out at the f7. f7 is also hanging. b7 is hanging, actually. Will he see it? He plays e5. And I've noticed it's the hanging pawn. He plays b5. Rook f1. And now f7 is hanging. And now rook f3. Rook f3 will be forcing mate, basically. Will Anthony see it? Rook f3 and mate on the h file is coming. He misses it and plays queen f3 instead, going into a pawn up endgame with black also having a doubled pawn on the g file. Still winning, but with 10 seconds on his clock, anything can happen. He blunders the e5 pawn, but he will be taking g6 also. And now rook takes c6 and rook takes d4. More pawns are getting traded, and Anthony will end up this trade up one pawn. Because after rook takes a6, there will be rook d1 check, king f2, and rook d2 check, winning back the b2 pawn. All of this has been seen, and Anthony is now in an endgame, a pawn up. But he has 5 seconds on his clock. Will he be able to win? This now is most likely going to be a draw with 2-on-1 on the king side. It's extremely hard to win as white, and with correct play should be a draw. And it looks like Arnav's also going to be forcing a repetition. Anthony tries and avoids it with king f4. I'm expecting rook b2 back. Instead, we see another check. That's interesting. So now it looks like he just won a pawn. g4 is probably what he should play and sack the... Did he flag? Okay, I think I'm just lagging. Yeah, so g4, king g6, threatening mate in 1. Rook h6 check is forced. And he goes back to g5. Rook f6 is played.
Oh, he flagged.
He did? Oh, ouch. This is just not Anthony's day, I guess. And I'm spending unusual time on his second move.
All right, we're gonna see some more trash e4, e5. Oh my goodness, he's gonna play the fried liver.
You see the fried liver? Does Anthony remember the theory here? Doesn't look like it. H6 is the main line here. Now bishop b7. But I don't think Arnav knows much either if he's playing knight c3. We should expect castle or knight d5 is a good move here. I like this move. They're both on their own now. Theory has long since passed. Probably bishop takes g5 here. See, queen takes d5. That's an interesting move for sure. The g5 knight is hanging, so we should expect d3 or d4 here, probably d3. Bishop f3 is an intermezzo that Arnav's trying to play, but now the g5 knight is going to be running out of squares. He will have to go to e4 or h3, and then if he goes to e4, f5 will be coming. So Anthony plays queen b5 to prevent Arnav from castling. But now d3 should solve all his problems, I think. Knight e4 is played instead, and now f5 e4 looks pretty good. So Anthony's still trying to stop Arnav from casting, but he finally plays d3. Now we should probably be expecting f5. So Anthony plays rook b8 instead, and is also down about a minute on the clock. It looks like white has solved his problem, so now the extra pawn, he might not have the compensation needed, with the knight also on a5 looking a little weird. Arnav attacks the e5 pawn. We should probably expect bishop d6 here. The queen on a6 and the knight on a5 look very misplaced for sure, so... Knight e4 back. Find that interesting because now after bishop c7, f5 will be coming with tempo. So knight c5 is now on the board. Queen c8 is probably forced, so you can take back on e6 with the queen. But this looks like just an extra pawn for Arnav, and looks like Anthony doesn't really have any compensation for the pawn he sacked out of the opening. I think Anthony's always had issues against Fed, where he's lost a lot of games against it for sure. Maybe the other rook to d8 was slightly better, but at this point, I actually, never mind. I like this rook. Keeping the other rook attacking the b2 pawn might be a good idea, actually. Maybe f5 should be played now. Trying to get e4 and stump and try and start an attack on the king's side, because that's really where Black will get any counterplay now. He doesn't really have any chance if the c1 bishop's allowed to develop. It'll just be an extra pawn at that point. Anthony plays queen f6 instead, trying to win the d4 pawn. And probably d5 now will be played, I think. I don't really see another move for Arnav to defend his pawn. Bishop b3, then plays queen a4. So what is the problem with c takes d4 now? C takes d4 is played. Anthony now threatens mate, which is prevented by Arnav, and now c5. An interesting try for counterplay by Anthony, trading off his weak pawn, hoping to hold the endgame down a pawn. But now b4. Oh, wait, no, that was bad. But bishop b3 looks like it wins the a7 pawn, I think. Doesn't go for it. He goes for bishop f4 instead. And we see a trade of decks for bishops. And Anthony just playing on the increment now. Doesn't really have any time to calculate anything with 7 seconds on his clock. Just trying to play the first move that comes to his mind. But how does Arnav continue here? Plays knight b7, so he's trying to reroute the knight to a good square. Maybe c5 is where he wants to go to. Plays knight d6, gutting the e8 square. That was a nice pre-move, actually. Arnav is now below 30 seconds. Rook e7 played. And queen c3 is the reply. So he's now attacking the f3 bishop. But this just looks like a winning position for Arnav. Something like bishop d5 here, attacking f7 might be good. Arnav now down to 15-ish seconds. And I think he had queen takes e1. After queen takes d6, I think he had queen takes e1 and then rook takes d6, and he would have been up in exchange. I think he missed that. On move 35, takes e1. Would have won the game for Anthony. He would have been up in exchange for a pawn. We have 5 minutes remaining.
Okay, so we have a symmetrical English right here. Okay, we have
Mainline symmetrical English. Anthony plays his pet line with d4, which is not the main line, but he does play this a lot.
okay, and a draw was offered. That's perhaps indicative of his lack of preparation.
Who offered the draw?
Arnav.
Okay. E5 is a really anti-positional move, I think. Now Anthony will play queen d3, bishop g5, take on okay, he plays queen d1, but he would have taken on f6, castle, queenside, and knight d5, I think. You see a lot of similar positions in the Najdorf, actually. Bishop d3, I would have preferred the bishop on e2, because the bishop on d3 just blocks your queen's pressure on the open file. Also, it doesn't really have a future on d3. So apparently Anna's been offering draws so he can end the 3-2 section. I'm not too sure where he got that a brilliant idea from. Apparently offering draws and having quick games makes time go by faster. So that's some nice logic by the guy up 5 points right now. Knight d5 might have been a little bit too early. Now black should probably play bishop takes d5, and it might usually you want to be able to take back with a piece on d5. So yeah, so he does take on d5. Probably e takes d5 to keep the position dynamic is probably the best idea. C takes d5 probably will lead to a very even end game, even though white has space. There are no real weaknesses in black's camp, so. But C takes is played. So now Anthony will just try and press as much as he can, while Arnav will just be defending. And I was also getting, once again, actually really low on time, which is b6 is a kind of move Anthony wants to see, actually. Because now he's going to put a bishop on a6 and cut the rook off the c file. So right now, maybe b4 here. Knight takes d3, you want him to take, because then you'll have your good bishop, this bad bishop, and then you'll be able to play like rook c6. So now Anthony's going to be putting all the pressure on the c file, but as I said before, there are no real weaknesses, so he's going to have to try and create something. So maybe something like b3, a4, a5 is the best idea for him, but Arnav's correctly trading off pieces. This does seem to be heading to a quick draw, though. I don't. So Bishop d8 is an interesting move. And now there's now some imbalance in the position, but I don't really see it leading to an Anthony winning. So they're both getting low on time. We might see some blunders there, but other than that, there's nothing really in this position. Maybe a4, a5 might be a good try for Anthony, actually. Bishop takes f6 would have been winning after f6 because the king would have had taken, then queen takes d7. I don't know what bishop takes f4 was. I'm not even too sure what's happening anymore. It looks like Arnav's going to take another win, though. Looks like Anthony's just being severely outclassed. And now does king f7, bishop b7, king g6 kind of force a repetition? Because we'll never find out. Maybe e5 gets some counterplay for Anthony, but b5 is a nice move by Arnav. It might actually be hard for someone to win this. The bishop on f8 is kind of trapped. The bishop is actually getting out now. Looks like Arnav will be able to win this. But with both having 20 seconds on their clock, I think the most likely result is a draw. He can't allow d7. He has to sack, and the king and pawn game might actually be winning for Anthony. Yeah, the h-pawn is much faster. I think Anthony's winning this. He's already on x, so. And now queen h1. Game over. He's going to bring his king over, win the pawn, and Anthony gets his first win to end the 3-2 section. So the players don't want to play the chess 960 game. Okay, so they're going to play the 960 game then. So they're trying to decide whether they'll play bullet or 960 or both or none. I don't know what's going on. Neither can decide because they both want to give it to the other player. I think this. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, I just realized what Kim did with this stream. Okay. Yeah. That's Arnav, in case you didn't know. And the guy on the right is Anthony. These were our two competitors. I don't know what. Okay, that's still Anthony. Okay. Yeah. That's a koala with my face on it, actually. I think that picture is from a couple years ago. I do not look like that now. Actually, I probably do, but.
Hey, dude.
That was Anthony who just said that.
Hello? Hey,
Hello. Is this the interview?
is the stream still on?
I don't know if it calls an interview if you guys didn't play Bullet, but okay. The match isn't over.
Is the stream still going?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
You can currently see my face on a koala.
All right,
I
Abby.
should just play Bullet even if the stream's going to end. Just play Bullet so I can see it. And we can record it in challenge.
Like on the stream?
Alright. I'd like to thank my fans, the people who thought I could win, like Jack, Upsets Galore. Now you're out there.
Upsets galore.
Alright.
In case you don't know what he's talking about the predictions. So the predictions, 7 out of 11 people predicted Anthony to win. He's showing Idav's face for him talking game, so it's me, but okay. He's showing the wrong face, basically. There we go.
Wait, how many people predicted me winning?
7 out of 11, but a couple of the 11 were troll ones, so yeah.
Oh, okay. I'd like to thank my
love the troll
non-troll
ones.
supporters.
Yeah. I still think you guys should play Bullet even if it's not streamed, but okay. So we can still record it in challenge. And Bullet is fun. The zoomed in version of Anav's face on this. I think he's zooming in on your face, Anav,
Okay.
if you're still watching the stream. And now he's showing different parts of your faces. Like your left eye, your right eye, both your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your chin.
Should we play Bullet then? Should we play Bullet?
Yeah, just play even if it's not timed. Just so we can say we're actually following the format. Yeah, just play even if it's not timed. Someone turn on the stream more, just so we can say we're actually following the format. What is the picture on the stream now? You can see everything, but okay. Someone turn on the stream more, just so we can say we're actually following the format. What is the picture on the stream now? And then there's Herman asking what he missed. Someone turn on the stream more, just so we can say we're actually following the format. We can always expect that from Herman. What is the picture on the stream now? And then there's Herman asking what he missed. Anyone cares? Someone turn on the stream more, just so we can say we're actually following the format. We can always expect that from Herman. What is the picture on the stream now? I still think you guys should play Bullet even if it's not streamed. But okay, who has a stream on in the background? We can still record it in challenge.
Oh yeah, that's one.
And Bullet is fun.
Oh no, get online.
I still think you guys should play Bullet even if it's not streamed. But okay, who has a stream on in the background? We can still record it in challenge.
Oh yeah, that's one.
And Bullet is fun.
Oh no, get online.
I still think you guys should play Bullet even if it's not streamed. But okay, who has a stream on in the background? We can still record it in challenge.
Oh yeah, that's one.
And Bullet is fun. So can where you should be. I still think you guys should play Bullet even if it's not streamed. But okay, who has a stream on in the background? This is
Oh yeah, that's one.
And Bullet is fun. So can where you should be. I still think you guys should play Bullet even if it's not streamed. But okay, who has a stream on in the background? This is
Oh yeah, that's one.
And Bullet is fun. So can where you should be. I still think you guys should play Bullet even if it's not streamed. But okay, who has a stream on in the background? This is
Oh yeah, that's
And
one.
Bullet is fun. So can where you should be. I still think you guys should play Bullet even if it's not streamed. But okay, who has a stream on in the background? This is
Oh yeah, that's one.
And Bullet is fun. So can where you should be. I still think you guys should play Bullet even if it's not streamed. But okay, who has a stream on in the background? This is
Oh yeah, that's
And
one.
Bullet is fun. So can where you should be. I still think you guys should play Bullet even if it's not streamed. Did you hear the stream? Okay, so I guess he forfeits the match then. I still think you guys should play Bullet even if it's not streamed. Did you hear the stream? We say how many points are you down? You're down 7. We say you won 6-1. Okay, so I guess he forfeits the match then. I still think you guys should play Bullet even if it's not streamed. Did you hear the stream? We say how many points are you down? You're down 7. We say you won 6-1. Okay, so I guess he forfeits the match then. I still think you guys should play Bullet even if it's not streamed. Did you hear the stream? We say how many points are you down? You're down 7. We say you won 6-1. Okay, so I guess he forfeits the match then. I still think it's kind of
Did you hear the stream?
we say how many points are you sold? We say you won 166. Okay, so I guess he forfeits the match then. I still think it's kind of
Did you hear the stream?
we say how many points are you sold? We say you won 166. Okay, so I guess he forfeits the match then. I still think it's kind of
Did you hear the stream?
we say how many points are you sold? We say you won 166. Okay, so I guess he forfeits the match then.
Okay, Arnold's online. You guys can stay.
Did you hear the stream?
We say how many points are you sold? We say you won 166. Okay, so I guess he forfeits the match then.
Okay, Arnold's online. You guys can stay.
Yo, challenge me.
Did you hear the stream?
Oh, you guys should how many points are you sold? We say you won 166. Okay, so I guess he forfeits the match then.
Okay, Arnold's online. You guys should play bullet and honor type shit.
Yo, challenge me.
Did you hear the stream?
Oh, you guys should how many points are you sold? We say you won 166. Okay, so I guess he forfeits the match then.
Okay, Arnold's online. You guys should play bullet and honor type shit.
Yo, challenge me.
Did you hear the stream?
Oh, you guys should how many points are you sold? We say you won 166. Okay, so I guess he forfeits the match then.
Okay, Arnold's online. You guys should play bullet and honor type shit.
Yo, challenge me.
Did you hear the stream?
Oh, you guys should how many points are you sold? We say you won 166. Okay, so I guess he forfeits the match then.
Okay, Arnold's online. You guys should play bullet and honor type shit.
Yo, challenge me.
Did you hear the stream?
Oh, you guys should how many points are you sold?
Oh wait, yes,
We say you won 166. Okay, so I guess he forfeits the match then.
Okay, Arnold's online. You guys should play bullet and honor type shit.
Yo, challenge me.
Did you hear the stream?
Aren't you guys
Oh, you guys should
playing?
how many points are
You're
you
in a
sold?
consumption fee. Oh wait, yes. You lose 1 to 6, I believe, right? Is what I said.
What?
You lose 1 to 6 if you don't play. If you play, whatever the score is gets put on Showdown.
We just played our game.
You just played a bullet game? I didn't see it. It says Anthony's idle, and it doesn't say you're online. $10 with a one. Oh. And it doesn't say you're online. You guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 with a one. Oh. And it doesn't say you're online. You guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. You guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. You guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. What is you guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. You guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. You guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. You guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. You guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. You guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. You guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online. I don't even know who won the game. I didn't check that. You guys played the wrong time control in case you know. 10 second with a one. Oh. That's like the most weird time control ever. And it doesn't say you're online.
Wait, are we even on the stream right now?
I haven't. Yes, I think we are. Yeah, Killen's highlighting that he won.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Wait, are we even on the stream right now? Bro.
Yeah, we are. Yes, I think we are.
What the?
Yeah, Killen's highlighting that he won.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Wait, are we even on the stream right now?
Yeah, we are. Yes, I think we are.
What the?
Yeah, Killen's highlighting that he won.
Oh, really?
So.
Wait, are we even on the stream right now?
Yeah, we are. Yes, I think we are.
Dude, this is so funny.
Yeah, Killen's highlighting that he won.
All good. Wait, are we even on the screen right now? Dude, this is so fun. What the?
Highlighting that he won.
All good. Wait, are we even on the screen right now? Dude, this is so fun. What the?
Highlighting that he won.
All good. Wait, are we even on the screen right now?
Should we end?
Okay then. The stream has become chaos.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Peng is king, by the way.
No.
I'll play Kinlan on the stream. He wants to apparently beat you again. Except you'll win, so it's okay.
Can I have water?
He wants to apparently beat you again. Except you'll win, so it's okay.
Can I have water?
Okay, so we'll be seeing another Peng versus Batta bullet match. Okay, so we'll be seeing another Peng versus Batta bullet match. They're playing unrated because we all know Kinnan's going to win. He's pre-moved the French. They're going into a tirage. He plays an open tirage, which is something new. Anav's playing Bishop C4 now. He's pre-moved the French. So this is an interesting game. Black is probably equal here. Slightly worse, but maybe I don't like what White's doing with his pieces. I don't know why I'm commenting a bullet game also. I have nothing better to do with my life, apparently. Anav's down on time also. That's very important in bullet. So in bullet, you usually want to 10 seconds is worth about a piece, I think. So he's threatening mate in 1, so I'm guessing G6 or F5 will be played. G6, Bishop 8-6, Rook E8 is most likely going to be played. Knight E5, takes, and Bishop F6 is probably going to be played, and then the B2 pawn will be hanging. So Queen takes C5, and Bishop takes B2, but Queen F4 is played instead. Bishop takes B2 now is a free pawn. And then after Rook, say B1, then Bishop G7, and Black's better. He's up 2 pawns, it looks like. He has fought off the attack. Queen F6 now offer another trade. His only problem right now is the C8 bishop. Anav correctly avoids queen trades. And now I think probably B6 and Bishop B7 should be played. I don't really know what White's doing. He's low on time and has a terrible position. Looks like Kinnan's actually a pretty good bullet player. So Queen F3 trying to prevent that, but now Queen takes F3 and Bishop B7 will be on the board. Bishop takes B7 kind of forced, but that's not played. Bishop D5 attack A2, but no F5 is played. Bishop B5, probably Rook D8. No, Rook E7, and now E5. Rook A3 is attacking a pawn, so A5 will probably be played. F4, E4 is on the board. Rook D8. And now Rook D4 is a nice centralizing move. Kinnan's just completely winning here. He's going to go 2-0 against Batta in bullet. So he doubled on the C file instead. I'm lagging a lot, so... Okay, so he's getting some counterplay, and hasn't flagged yet. Kinlan's also lessened the time gap. Probably Rook D2 has been played. Rook takes B6. Oh, but he flagged. So, yeah, that's a bullet game played by Arnav and Kinlan. Very interesting demolition of E4 shown by Kinlan. And that's why the French is a good opening. And Peng is king, apparently. Now we know why they were playing unrated. We wouldn't want Kinlan to steal too much of Arnav's bullet rating before the showdown, wouldn't we? Oh, I guess 12 out of 16, not bad. Is this still live? I'm not even too sure what's on the stream anymore. He's now on chess.com analysis. Oh, he's going to analyze that game. I thought it was a pretty good game by Kinlan, especially for a bullet game. Let's see what the chess.com analysis says about it. Yeah, 65%. Okay, his best move percentage is dropping as expected in bullet. It's still above 50%, which is really amazing, actually. But Arnav actually has a higher, not anymore. He's almost 60%. What is this? 61. How? My bullet games are usually just me sacking pieces and then flagging my opponents. Okay, it's back to a more human 50%. 52 is still kind of amazing. 50.0 again. He's finally below 50%. Wow. That took him a while. I'm not too sure what he's looking for. How do I go back? How do I go back? What did he even do? Did you click help? I don't know. Click the back button on your screen. I don't know. I thought usually this shows up in a different tab.